Assalamu alaikum ji. Welcome back to an episode of Kahe, Kazi. My guest today was Samantha from Intentional Detours. Samantha, say hi.
Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Samantha is a travel, would I say travel blogger?
Yeah.
Travel blogger? Travel blogger, content writer. And she hopes to make Pakistan her home. Is that fair?
I do. That is true.
Yeah.
It's no joke.
It's not a joke. We get to speaking about what it is to travel solo across the world and then in Pakistan, how Pakistan compares to the rest of the world because she's visited 14 other countries, and just the tips and tricks of the trade, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Also towards the end of the podcast, we get into what she would hope other women might take into account when also thinking about traveling alone, albeit safety or security or just, a sense of adventure or what have you.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Samantha from Intentional Detours. Enjoy. Three, two, one. Samantha from Intentional Detours. And we're rolling. We're good.
All right.
Now, whatever happens, happens.
Okay.
How are you doing, Samantha?
I'm very good. How are you?
Fantastic.
That's great.
Alhamdulillah. So you said you don't like the cold. So are you happy about the fact that it's hot now?
Oh, yeah. Like, honestly, like, this is my ideal weather. And, like, I love beaches. So I'm really enjoying those factors together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just one way to do this would be to never address why you're here.
Okay.
Just be like, yeah, this is people just are in Karachi. but let's start with what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we already know, my name is Samantha, and I would say that overall I am a travel writer and I guess a travel content creator, which is something that I didn't study. My background is in psychology, but this is kind of like my passion and what I've been wanting to do. So I'm really happy that I've been able to do it. So mostly what I do is I do have my own website, which is called Intentional Detours, and it's, a traditional travel blog, and it very heavily focuses on Pakistan with like guides to different cities, different places. I would like to say they're quite thorough. And in fact, like the vast majority of my readers are from Pakistan, with like 65% of people are from Pakistan. So that's good to know that Pakistanis are also reading the content, and so
that's super interesting. Okay, to that end, and I did speak to you about this before the podcast. You're doing it proper journalism style, where you need to go there to these places before you write about them. Or talk about them.
Like I would never like publish an article on my website about a place that I haven't been. Like, I think that's a bit very weird and
that's sketchy.
Very unethical. Yeah. So like anywhere that I've published like a guide about, I've definitely been there. I've taken the pictures, and specifically, like, for example, I'm going to obviously write something about Karachi. So I really did make a point to like go to all of the sites and, learn about them, see them, and, take pictures that, I was there. I'm not just using stock photos and like looking up Wikipedia, like what are the best sites in Karachi? Like, no, really been there.
Yeah. Talking to the people and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I recently visited the Mubarak village and met a lot of people there and really enjoyed that. Like, so far, I think that's my favorite place in the general Karachi area.
Okay. So what's on everyone's mind? Because, throughout our interaction before this, I've been like, okay, that's good. That's beautiful, right? That really is. And I did say this, I should say this on the podcast. One of my vested interests to have this conversation with you was I feel that I've become jaded towards Karachi and Pakistan. And in talking to you, I'm hoping to fall back in love with this country, And because there's something that caused you to come here. Karachi is one of the most dangerous cities in the world.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. So one thing that I think that has helped me a lot when traveling in Pakistan to not like think too negatively about a place is that I honestly will not read about like, old history or like old thing that happened. Not that I haven't read like, general events, but I don't want to like get too into the past because I want like, I honestly want to get to know it for like what it is now.
Sure.
Which obviously, of course, it's still very dangerous. It's still like much more dangerous than other cities in Pakistan, but things definitely have improved, like statistically, from let's just say 10 years ago.
Of course.
So
Yes,
that's
yes.
of course like very awesome. And also, like, of course, like in Karachi more so than other cities, like am taking precautions such as like, you know, not really trying to go out at night too much when it's too late. I am staying in like a relatively safe area.
Okay.
I found a Airbnb for that. So
Yeah, don't mention those things.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Anyways.
Okay.
So in case people have not deciphered this great mystery, where are you from?
So I am born and raised in America.
Okay.
I'm from Connecticut, which is in, it's a very small state right next to New York. Yeah, not much going on there.
Okay.
However, my mother and her entire side of the family are Polish, and I'm actually also a Polish citizen.
Oh wow,
which-
beautiful.
which I'm very proud of, honestly, because Poland is
That's
a
fantastic.
nice country.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
country. I actually had one of my closest friends in Canada was from Poland.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, fantastic people. And really strong too. Like
Yeah.
strong cultural leanings, all those things.
Yeah.
Okay. But you told me that you had not left America till 2017.
Yeah. So, okay, so the situation was that, yes, I am Polish. Yes, my grandmother is from Poland. Her and my grandfather immigrated. My grandmother is still living, happily in U.S. right now.
Okay.
But the thing is, I feel like once they came over, they kind of like, there was not really a lot of traveling. They didn't really want to go back and visit Poland that much. There was a few visits, but it wasn't like an every year thing or like that common. So I definitely feel like that my family did Americanize or in that type of sense, which, is.
I mean, that's the thing to do, right?
Right,
That's
right.
why you immigrated.
And in general, like my mom and my dad, they never grew up traveling. They were not really like some domestic things, of course, but internationally, like it was no scene.
No scene at all.
So, but it was always something that I was interested in, like even in high school, even middle school, of course, I had mentioned like I was 8 and I had wanted to come to Pakistan based on some books I read, some friends that I had.
At 8 years old.
Yeah, like I swear this is not a joke.
No,
I'm not making this
of
up.
course
Like
not.
my mom would verify. I have some pictures. And it was like, it was really a combination of like we had read or watched something in class, and also I had met 2 different girls that were also like in the class, and they happened to be from there, and like they would like, and they were still very like into the culture. So I was just very fascinated, and I thought it was like so interesting, and I was really liking like just learning about different things from the girl in particular. Her name was Satara, and her family was from Karachi.
Sitara, yeah.
Yeah. So, which I know means star. So
There you go. Yeah.
yeah. I just remember that like we would just talk on the phone a few times a week as like little childhood friends. And one time she went for a month to visit Karachi, and I just remember like asking her about it and like just like so amazed about this place that was like so far away.
That's cool.
So actually, yes, Karachi was quite literally the first place I'd ever heard of in Pakistan. The second of which was in a book about the Cholistan desert.
Sure.
So these were like so I was interested in visiting India as well. But I'd say like there was a time in my life where I was kind of just doing, like schoolwork, the whole like grind of like,
So you have to get it done.
right, of course. So I'd kind of like not forgotten, but like I was just kind of like not particularly thinking about travel. But then in 2017, I had an opportunity to go on a spring break trip with some people to Ecuador. And that was like my first time ever leaving the US and my first time seeing like a place that was completely different. And I was in love with it. Like I'd never seen a mountain. There's nothing on the East Coast that even would resemble like what we have in Islamabad.
Right, sure, of course.
So
Yeah.
I was like totally amazed. I've never even been to California. Like I've never been out west. Like I really haven't even seen the US.
This is crazy. Okay, but here's what's interesting, right? So here's how I can resonate. I've never been to Hunza.
Really?
I've never been to Lahore.
Oh, that's the same. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, wow.
I've never been. I've only ever traveled in Sindh.
Okay, yeah.
And then Canada.
Same. It's very, very relatable. Yeah.
Awesome, though, dude. But the thing is, that also speaks to how big America is as a country.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
It's just huge. You could go. I mean, you could go your entire life,
Oh yeah.
and not see some of these things.
Oh, for sure. And it's like there's so many Americans that like literally never leave their state, and it's very common, very normal.
But okay, so they don't, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you think they should?
So obviously I 100% recognize that travel is definitely a privilege, and like obviously there are
course.
many Americans that like could not financially afford to do that, and like I'm not speaking about them, but there are so many people that I know like from my university, just from life, and like they have money, they're quite well off or just comfortable, and they could travel, like they could come to Pakistan, they could come to India,
You could
like,
go to Karachi.
right, they and the thing is I feel like a lot of Americans just they don't see it as something of value or something of importance, where I've seen while I'm traveling that Europeans do value that way more.
100%.
And not even just Europeans, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, anyone outside of the US. Like the US is a very specifically isolated country. And to the fact where I could count, I think 3 people I've met in now almost 10 months that were like Americans traveling here, where I've met a ton of Germans, British, Swedish, whatever.
That's awesome.
And that also was a common theme in Thailand, in Laos, in Singapore. It's not just, Pakistan, which is still a bit more of an offbeat place. So, I even find that there's not a single friend of mine that I have back home who's ever like traveled beyond like a family type scene.
But I mean, hopefully, after you chronicle your journey, may you be given absolute safety, and may all of this go absolutely,
Inshallah.
inshallah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they could be convinced,
Yeah, in fact, like even recently I had a friend of mine who is someone that has actually like gone abroad a few times. I think she studied abroad in Australia, and she had messaged me like, hey, like Pakistan actually looks really cool. Like, how much does it cost? Like, what's the seat? And I was like, yes, like
Yes.
This is like what I was hoping in sharing these things, that like people are going to realize that. Because of course, particularly in America, as opposed to like Poland or, Italy or just or Canada or somewhere random, like there obviously has been a lot of anti-Pakistan media narrative, like particularly.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Which, of course, like obviously I know is complete BS. But the majority of Americans, and we're talking about people that are super liberal, super progressive, people that are like, on every left side, like even those friends were saying to me like, oh my God, be careful, like be safe, like please be careful. And
That's what I'm saying to you. I mean, it's the same thing. But listen, we can't in good faith blame them because they're busy living their lives.
Right, exactly.
How many people have the time to look at the news, look at a piece of content, and unpack it to like why these people would give us this information, right?
Right,
Most people are just living their
exactly.
lives, right?
That's true. And even like for me, the whole recent era that we had in the US, like that really
The Trump thing.
yeah.
Why you're not a fan?
Oh no.
I'm Canadian. What do you want me to say? I wasn't even there.
Yeah. So I feel like that era, like combined with like around that time when that started happening, I was able to leave the US for the first time. And of course, I was always like, not into those scenes. I was always into, more progressive ideals and values. But it was only when I left the US that you fully realize how unbelievably propagandized you are there, even in public schools, private schools, like to very extreme levels.
Sure.
And that's definitely been one of the most eye-opening experiences in traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing in particular that I've like mentioned quite recently to family and friends back home is, of course, I understand like the many difficulties Pakistan faces and whatnot and everything, of not discrediting that. But one thing that I think Pakistan should be proud of, because to me this is a very important issue, is recently there was started some type of universal healthcare program with the cards. And even though it's just a start, even though it has a limit, like we have nothing of that sort in the US, and they actively like prevent anything like
Which
that.
is crazy, isn't it? Because Canada's doing it.
Canada does. Oh,
Yeah.
you've experienced
Yeah.
this firsthand.
Yeah.
And as we know, the US is the richest country in the world.
Alhamdulillah.
So,
yeah, they're great. Yeah.
so what is their excuse? So it really just shows to me that like if, you know, even Pakistan is in some way trying to prioritize this as an issue for the public, and the US with all of their billions or not, it's like just
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Anyhow, what's your so you went to Ecuador and then a few trips you said to Europe, right?
So I went to Ecuador. That was in like around spring, and then I had a few more months to like work a lot more and save up during that time. And then I went on a 1 month trip to Europe, and then I kind of went to Oman and Bahrain for like a short period of time.
How was that conversation with your parents?
That also did not go well with
Mom
the
and Dad, I'm gonna go to the Middle East.
Yeah. Oh, and this was
Right.
before I had ever been to India or anything. So it was a big, like, you know, oh, here we are in Amsterdam, now Oman. So it was
That's
a big
great.
change for them.
I think it's beautiful that you've had this journey, and I think it's awesome that at the end of the day, whether they liked it or didn't, they did support you. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I'm very grateful
Yeah,
for that,
yeah,
for
alhamdulillah,
sure.
yeah.
Definitely. So.
Okay, so anyway, so you're in Oman and you're in Bahrain. Okay, good.
So, yeah, and at that point, I actually did have quite a very random and very like unsettling incident happen in my life, unrelated to travel. Where, so prior to when I had started traveling, I had kind of been experiencing some weird like issues with my neck and like some weird symptoms.
Oh no.
So basically, right after I came back from this whole trip to Europe, Bahrain, and Oman, I ended up having to get a neck surgery.
What the shit?
Yeah, because it turned out that I had like a very old fracture in my neck that I wasn't even aware of.
Well, how weren't you aware? It's a fracture.
Yeah, and I was in a lot of pain, but it was still like I can move about with the daily activities, and like it was like still like So it was literally, once again, no joke, like 2 days after returning from Bahrain, that was the last stop on this trip, where I had this neck procedure. And that was very scary because I was like, you know, I was so afraid I would never be able to backpack, especially, or do like, you know, hikes.
Right,
like,
because the way you travel, it's strenuous. It's
Right.
not luxury travel.
Right, exactly.
You're
Like-
going off, on trails and stuff. You're walking a lot of the
Right.
times, carrying a lot.
Definitely. So it turned out to be an actual C2 fracture. So
You're killing me. You're
Yeah.
killing me with this.
that was a very crazy event in my life. Luckily, I had a really good surgeon that
beautiful.
I was able to, get healed quite quickly. And then
You recovered completely now.
yeah. Allah shukar, everything was
Alhamdulillah.
fine.
Yeah.
So that took place in July of 2017. And then I had another year of school. I had quite a long time to recover, which was good. And then again, in June of 2018, I took a trip that I would say that trip was the turning point of like, this is a hobby. This is something that I'm doing on school breaks, to no, this is how I want to live my life. And I want to like do this as long as I possibly can, if not forever. And that was when I had first visited, like, because yes, I'd visited Oman and Bahrain, but that's like the Middle East. It wasn't like really like.
Didn't speak to you?
It did, but I really didn't meet anyone there. I was just kind of seeing things in those countries in particular. I found that it was very difficult to meet people. Like people are kind of yeah. And there's definitely like even like at all of the stores and whatnot, it's kind of run by people that aren't from there. So you really have virtually zero local interaction, especially if you have a short time period, which I did at that time. So it was when I went to Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia that I love those places. Like, It was just so like amazing, like the food, the vibe, meeting people for the first time. Because also on that first trip, didn't really meet any other travelers that much.
Okay.
Like not really that much interaction. Same with the Ecuador trip, not really that much interaction with other travelers.
Where do you like, and this is a general question, where do you look for fellow travelers?
So usually I will look for hostels Or in Pakistan, particularly, couch surfing is amazing.
Is it?
Definitely, yes,
I
for
did
sure.
not know this at all.
Couch surfing in Pakistan has definitely been the best out of. I've also tried it in India. I tried it in Singapore. I tried it in, I think, Cambodia. I also Amsterdam as well. And Pakistan, it's just really been the best. Like,
Alhamdulillah, okay.
for example, in my first trip to Pakistan in 2019, I met a couch surfing host, and we ended up getting on. Everything was going well, and I think I stayed collectively over a month with him in Lahore, so I really got to know Lahore very well.
Beautiful.
So that was great. But yeah, like couch surfing in Pakistan is awesome. Had another amazing experience in Peshawar with a host I still keep in contact with. Just really good experiences.
And where do you find these people who are willing to offer?
So on Couchsurfing, like it shows a list of hosts, and usually you could have it shown by people who have reviews. So I'll always go for people with good reviews, recent reviews. In fact, the guy from Lahore, he had a review from like another blogger girl. So also knew that he
Pro
was
tips.
like, yeah,
Yes,
also
very good.
knew that he was like cool for girls as well, like no issues.
Which is a problem.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
Let
yeah.
him go. That's the other, because that's the other thing, because I that's the other thing I asked you. So not only are you pardon my lack of tact, but white and American, right? But you're also a woman in Karachi. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But anyways, and so where were we in the story? So you said you went to
okay, so we were on the
Thailand and all those places.
Yeah, so at the end of the Thailand trip, I did finally make it to India, and at this point I had actually although I had wanted to travel to Pakistan in the past, like it wasn't something I literally thought that it was like Afghanistan and that it was not really possible, because I had just gotten into the whole backpacking scene. I hadn't even done that much research. So then I went to India. I really liked it at the time. It was great.
Yeah.
I did get massively scammed upon arriving. So that was not a good start to the trip.
Okay. Do you want? Are you comfortable?
Of course. Yeah. Very open to this story. So this was an extremely elaborate and almost impressive type of scam, where in India they have places that look completely legit, like government operated agencies called tourist information centers. And so I take the night. They have a metro from the airport. I take it, no issues. Then I make a major mistake of getting into a rickshaw as a foreigner with no SIM card activated. And the guy is all friendly, speaking English, no issues. And then suddenly, I'm just looking around, I'm so excited to be in South Asia for the first time, paying no attention to where we're going. And then suddenly we roll up to a place with armed guards in front of it, and I honestly did not know much about Delhi at this time. This was before I had started blogging or doing a lot of research or anything like that. So it was a bit of a spontaneous scene. And basically this guy tells me that, or the driver explains at this time that this area is blocked. There was riots. It's dangerous. You need to get permission from the Tourist Information Center. Go to the Tourist Information Center. We have some very, well-trained people there explaining that, yes, there was riots. All of these hotels are booked. It's high season. Your only options are the Courtyard Marriott or renting a taxi. And I had a short time there. So I was really just trying to get up to Himachal Pradesh, which is a mountain area there. So at the time, I assumed that the taxi would be the best option, and it was. I can't even get into how expensive it was. But at the time, also I'm thinking, we are going 1,000 miles, over 2,000 kilometers, it's long. And then when I get there, I start finally I get in do the whole taxi thing, and then I reach to the location, and I'm meeting people from Delhi, and they're like, "Oh, that's a normal area. It's not unsafe.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens there." And then I come to find out via research as well that this is a very common scam, and there are hundreds of people in forums talking about how they were also victims, and these are fake tourist agencies operating to scam people first arriving.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
rite of passage, right?
Yeah, like, and that was like, and also I was a bit bold because I had just been in, this whole Southeast Asia scene for 2 months and not a single scam. So I
Yeah.
was like, everything
dude.
is fine.
I got this. I
Right?
got this.
And so after that trip, like even after the scam, I still had a great time. Like I was
Alhamdulillah.
still,
Yeah.
So it was still good. And then I get back home and I have my last year of university starting. And this is when I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to get back out there for like as long as possible. And that is when I just happened to come across some things on Instagram about Pakistan. And I was like, oh wow, like I thought India was cool. Like I thought all these places I went were cool. This looks like a million times better. Like I need to get there.
Times.
Yeah.
She said a million times.
So that is when I also started learning about the whole that travel blogging is like an actual like career, like travel writing is a career. At this point, I had never even considered journalism, any of these things. Like which I'm not a journalist. Like just wanted to because
but you could still you do still adhere to certain journalistic practices.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. It's just like. As a tourist, like it's just important to state that.
Sure, of course, I understand.
Yeah.
Not a journalist. Yes.
But basically, it was the first time that I was realizing that I could combine writing, which was something that I'd always kind of. Oh, I also forgot to mention that originally I went to university like really, really pressed about the idea of becoming a psychiatrist and going to medical school and doing the whole science path. But honestly, my whole life, I had never really been great at sciences. I had done, good enough, but I'd always been quite good at writing.
Okay.
But I never like thought that would be like a option. I was just like science, psychology.
Sure,
like,
yeah, the hard sciences, yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's the path, yeah.
So, and then once I was finding, like, I found various blogs, and there was like people like similar ages to me, similar stories, and I was seeing that. Wow, like this is a way that you can make money online and travel and live abroad. And I was like, just in that period of time for the next, this was in September, August, up until, May, I started learning everything I could. I took a course. I like went full on into it about like how I could start my website, how I could make it. And then finally in May of 2019, I finally finished the university.
Yeah.
I had been working that whole year at like various different jobs, tutoring, and after school program. I was also working at my university gym. So doing a lot to like prepare for that super trip. So, and then finally in May of 2019, I did leave the US and I actually went to India again to start off. And I went there for, about 2 months.
But now you knew people, so it was
right.
good. Yeah.
And this time was much better. There was no scams, but it was still like, like it kind of like wasn't what I had always been expecting India to be. I don't know.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So I've obviously never been because I have the green passport.
Right.
But that's interesting because lots of people, but it's easier to get to India than it is to Pakistan.
Yeah,
Pakistan,
definitely,
right?
definitely.
I mean, that's just
even the visa process is a lot easier.
exactly. But lots of people will say, okay, yeah, it was it was what it was. It was India, yeah. But I suppose you're one of the few people who, or not. I mean, you're one of the few people that I've met who has that ability to compare because you've been to both, and you're saying it wasn't all that.
Yeah, like first of all, I was like the mountains were nice. Like there was definitely some good scenes there. Met some cool people. There was some good places, but overall, like I feel like the safety factor did feel like now I have more experience in Pakistan than India even. I definitely feel like India is, especially North India, is more unsafe.
Wow.
And it just felt like
for women?
For women.
Okay.
Yeah, for women. For men, like they will be fine.
Yeah, it's no problems. Yeah.
So I think that's particularly it's like you literally couldn't move without like people asking for pictures and all these types of, and particularly men, like, families, I'm very happy. Women, like for sure, I'll take a picture, but single man it's very weird. And so yeah, overall, like North India, I just kind of felt like there were certain instances of people were like very nice and welcoming, but there were other instances where it was just like, like, I don't know, like there was just more of a scamming vibe, even if no scamming was happening.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you must never forget yourself. You must never forget that this is a foreign country. You have no one here. I mean, so you met people, right? So they're friends or whatever. But you don't really have anyone here. Everyone you care about is way somewhere far away on the other side of the planet or what have. Pardon the cliche, but and yeah, man, I can't imagine it. It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, I was there for 3 months, and then I crossed the border over at Wagah to cross into Pakistan.
Yeah.
And then
That's right.
Yeah. And then that was like, it was really like, at the time I was thinking like, this was the best 4 months of my life. Like I really just had like, it was amazing. Like it was really everything that I had hoped India would be. It just felt very like, I wasn't in like a tourist place. I was just in a place where people were living, and that's really what I enjoy while traveling. Like just being there, living with people, living in like places very different and very much more interesting in my opinion.
Just genuine interactions.
Right, very genuine interactions. Like the hospitality is just unbelievable. Like everyone says it, but it really is true. Like it is unlike any other country I've ever seen, like by like such a long shot. And that particularly was just very like, I'd never experienced anything like this before. And honestly, I find other Americans in general to be like not really that friendly. Like with
here.
Oh no, not here. I mean like just in America. Yeah. Like strangers are, like not really going to. I mean, if you're like on the road, like people will help you in America, but like overall, like people are kind of to themselves. Like they're not really trying to meet new people. Sure. What I particularly find about here is people are really interested in meeting tourists, which I find like great, because it's like, how else are you supposed to, like, for example, I think the major difference in India overall was like, even though I would say India comes in second out of the 15 countries I've been in terms of like meeting people, it's still a big gap between like being able to meet locals in Pakistan. And I really think that is what has made Pakistan such a special and unique place for me, is that I genuinely feel welcomed here. I feel kind of at home here. I feel that in general, like people are respectful, people are nice.
I don't know what Pakistan you're talking about. I don't know what's going on here. No.
And I definitely understand that, of course, there's a lot of foreigner privilege involved in this.
Sure.
I'm not at all denying that.
And that's a beautiful thing that you said that.
It's for sure a thing, for sure. But this is not something that happens everywhere as a foreigner. And that's what makes Pakistan very, very special as a tourism destination. Because honestly, it's not like people are welcoming me into their house and expecting some rupees at the end. Like, they're really not.
No, they're not.
Like, they're very genuinely, like, I will never forget how there's so many of these stories, but this in particular was just very crazy. Like in Lahore, it was a night of Eid al-Adha. I was actually walking around with another foreign traveler I'd met, and we were trying to find some food, and nothing was open because it's Eid al-Adha.
Yeah.
And I had really been wanting to try the qurbani meat. Like I was super into it.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay,
then,
so I mean, I can, please continue your story, but I just want to say, you could go to any house.
Yeah.
Dude, we're supposed to give you.
But this concept as a foreigner, especially someone from the US, which as I told you, I don't think is particularly friendly. It's just so amazing.
Yeah.
Like literally was just asked off the street by someone. And it was actually someone who happened to be living in like a really cool, like super old pre-partition house as well. In the, what was it called? The Gulmandi food area of Lahore. So, literally had an absolutely amazing, 10-course meal. And got to see some, wrestling scenes.
Did you?
These people were wrestlers,
Oh, wow.
So they had some videos and photos. They had some, chickens, some scene with that. And it was this was a total and complete stranger. It was just wonderful to see.
Oh, listen, if you're looking for food, right, especially, in Ramzan or at, around Eid time, even in general, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know if I don't want to. I don't want to sit here and use language that would bifurcate you from me. We're all just people, right? But that's just unacceptable. If someone's hungry, no, sorry, cannot.
And that's a wonderful thing. Like that's a very like just a really great value, I think, in the society. And another value in Pakistani society that I really do like, and I recently I think I put this in like an Instagram caption the other day because it really is true, is like the value and the respect people have for elders here is just really wonderful to see.
Yeah, you know what, Samantha, I appreciate what you've said, and I know what you're alluding to, but I feel that value is now being diminished.
Really?
In the younger generation, in the youth now, because I'm not part of the youth. In the youth now, in the sense that kids who might be 17, 18, 19, I don't see that. But I do.
Really?
I do
Okay.
hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I definitely would say that I specifically had seen this in more rural areas, like in Hunza and whatnot. So I couldn't, I guess, speak on it for the whole country.
Sure.
But I do still think that compared to the US, where people literally just completely drop family members, like just leave them like completely, it is nice to see that there's and also that there is at least like some level of respect, and that I've just seen even from my Pakistani friends, like when they'll speak to their parents on the phone or just like how they interact. It's
So
like
I have a funny story. I have a funny story about this. If my dad were to call me right now, and we have a very friendly relationship, but if he'd call me up right now, I can't stay sitting. He's in another city, right? He's just calling me up. I can't just sit here and talk to him. I get up and I start walking. Right? It's just the funniest thing in the world. Like, where are you going? I guess I'll start walking towards him. But okay, fair enough. How has your experience been in Karachi with the locals? Now, obviously, yes, they're nice and all those things, but tell me some stories. Tell me some good ones.
okay. Okay. I do have a good story.
Okay,
This
here we
was
go.
a particularly weird incident that occurred. I will say that I have met a lot of great people in Karachi. Even some, like for example, last night I met a girl and I ended up going to kind of like a, outdoor gathering for her birthday, and we just met on Instagram, and it turned out that she is born in America but from Hunza, so we connected that way, and she's living in Karachi.
Do you want to shout her out? Or
Yes, I would like to shout her out. Her name is Ryla. She's super
Ryla.
awesome, and
You're super awesome.
really happy that we connected via Instagram.
Samantha's really happy.
So one of the benefits
Yes.
of the social media
Yes,
world.
absolutely, absolutely, yes.
So so that had. I feel like I definitely have met like some pretty cool people, and actually like some people really have been like from Instagram. So that's been pretty cool.
That's how you and I.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how we connected as well. But okay, so for the weird stories, so I'd say the weirdest thing that happened was, so I was visiting a shrine in the city, the shrine of Saeed Abdullah Ghazi.
Yeah, Ghazi Baba. Yeah.
So I was visiting and everything was fine. They were very nice and they let me bring my camera in, which was nice of them. So, but then anyways, we're leaving. And what happened was this woman literally puts one of these garlands on my neck and tries to tell me like to pay her and whatnot. And I was just a bit surprised because I never had someone try to put something on me.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a shock.
Yeah. But she wanted payment for it.
Yeah, demanding payment after.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was a little bit weird, but other than that, one thing I will say that I honestly have felt that in terms of maybe some other cities, like being a woman, men in Karachi have honestly not like been pretty chill, I'd say, compared to some other cities. Like in terms of staring, definitely, like people will kind of like, they'll look a little and then they'll look away, where in some other locales in India as well, like people will literally like not look away. Like they'll just
I've heard Lahore's notorious for this.
Yeah.
You didn't want to say that. Okay, that's fine. I said it. She didn't say it.
Just a bit.
Yeah, Lahore's known for. I mean, Lahore's pretty bad. And yeah, I don't know. I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I would really hope that that it just women are just as safe as men are. You know, I mean, it's cliched and whatever. You know, it's almost at this point comical for me to say it, but I still would hope that that's just eventually where the point that we get to. But you're saying Karachi's for the most part been pretty good.
Yeah, for the most part. Of course, like I like I told you before, like more so than in other places that I've been, I am a bit more concerned about like my things because of, you know, stories that I've heard and whatnot.
Sure.
But
that's warranted.
Right. So I would say honestly, like if I had never heard anything like that, you know, I was completely ignorant of like anything, I would literally not feel any different than like in any other city. And in fact, honestly, I visited Mumbai, which is, I guess, comparable to Karachi in terms of the fact that it's, you know, on the Arabian Sea, it's big, whatnot.
Sure. Yeah.
Honestly, Karachi is so much better. Like in terms of just the amount, like the size, the people, like the amount of things to do. Like you don't feel as congested here. And I was kind of afraid because I'll be honest with you, I had heard people say like, I don't know if you'll like Karachi, like just based on their own opinions, or like, oh, it's dirty, it's too busy, it's this, it's that.
It is all those things.
Right.
But it has a heart.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. And also, I would say that compared to like, you know, some other cities that I've been to, like namely Mumbai and New Delhi, like Karachi is damn awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Karachi is awesome. Yeah. Okay. What parts of Karachi have you visited so far?
Okay, so I've visited a lot of random areas because I've literally visited like at this point every single historical site. In fact, 2 days ago I just went to Lundy Town to visit the Chowkhandi tombs.
Fantastic.
I've been to Hawke's Bay and I visited several of those beaches.
Ever been to Liari?
Liari is the one place that I haven't been. I would like to go.
Yeah.
The reason why I haven't gone is because I've been heard from people that, you know, I should have someone that I know there or have some type of contact. Yeah.
We have friends.
But
now.
I would love to go.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely like been on my places that I've.
So the people that I'm talking about are the brilliant Baloch twins. They're
I've heard of them.
Yeah. So after the podcast,
Okay.
we'll sort that out, inshallah. So you've not been to Liari. Where else have you been?
So I'd say them. I know this is considered to be kind of like not in Karachi, but I absolutely love the Mubarak village. It was amazing to me. Like places like that are probably like my favorite because you get I love the sea. I love some type of elevation, and also the people there were just very nice, very friendly, how I would describe them is unbothered in a good way. Like they weren't trying to sell anything or anything. They're just very chilled and just very nice.
I was speaking to a friend of mine, Chris. Chris was with me at the University of Toronto, but now he's in Japan.
Oh wow!
Teaching people English.
Oh okay.
And him and I had this interaction about village people. I think village people are their own kind of people.
Oh.
And village people are the same everywhere.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Whether it's a Japanese village or somewhere in Sindh or, you know, somewhere in Thailand, Malaysia, village people are just a different kind of people, right?
I totally agree with you. Like there's even similarities you could see in like the Mubarak village, like just the vibe overall to like some of the GB villages as well. Like people are just very nice, just a wonderful, like just
different.
Some wonderful, different, like, and you know, I have friends from Hunza, of course, like they're in Karachi, they're from Hunza, and you know, they also say the same thing. Like it's just a completely different like vibe. It's a completely different like type of people, like everything. It's just different.
It's just different. It's so interesting. I mean, and you know, we could sit here and guess all night about what makes them different. But I suppose the one thing is communal living.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know, because cities essentially are based on the concept of nuclear families and you know just being contained. Where villages are just not like that.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
It is your business. So what person X is doing in the neighborhood is your business, versus in cities where you're just like, no, it's not my business,
Right.
not my problem. My gate's closed, it's fine. So at least that, I don't know what else.
Yeah.
You know?
And I actually did spend like quite a lot of time up in the Gilgit-Baltistan region during my trip so far. And it's very interesting because it's like in some ways like I was missing like certain like variety options because
In terms of food?
in terms of food, like I'm a big
dude,
foodie.
Karachi's got you covered.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have been fully enjoying that scene, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there is something like it's been like an absolutely like such an important experience for me how I was living there, and like we didn't have that many options in terms of like there's not that many restaurants, especially when the season is over, and we were mostly cooking, you know, in a place like Karimabad, Aliabad, even more remote areas than those. When it's not summer, like, you know, there's not much to do there. The pipes are frozen. Like you have to get water from from tanks. Like, and I really like at the time, like maybe there was some times where I was like, oh, I'm bored of some of the like having to cook every day and whatnot.
Sure.
I miss the street food carts. I miss the halwa puri. But then it teaches you like, you know, with less, like there are benefits as well. And
Well, of course, listen, of course. And there's absolute merit in experiencing all of it.
For sure.
Right? I mean, and you know, I'm not even going to begin to spout some cliches about, you know, because you experienced that, now you enjoy this better. But I just think
it definitely gives you like really interesting perspective. And also like for example, like when I was in the US for a year, like as I'm sure you know, in Canada as well, in any like you could obviously have hot water at any time of day, like any time of day, and that was something obviously I did take for granted. And now, especially like up there, even here now in Karachi where I'm staying, like we don't have hot water.
So my hot water heater was broken for the longest time, and you just listen. My friends were like, they were joking about this. They're like, you know, Canada made you soft, right? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, and they're like, why do you want hot water? I'm like, what does that even mean, dude? What is that? You know? Right. But I don't know. Cold showers are better for you anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Whatever. Good health benefits.
Sure, of course, yes. But then also hyperthermia, right?
Yes.
Also that.
The converse.
But okay. How has your interaction been with, so you said locals in the true sense of the word, people who we're just normal people. That's been good so far. Yeah, in Karachi. Have you met any prominent personalities?
Prominent personalities. One girl that I did meet up with recently that you might know about is Maria Sumrao.
I don't know her.
So I did meet up with her. She's quite known in like the travel community because she's a girl from Karachi, and she quit her job and now runs women's tours and like has hitchhiked all over the country.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, she's really awesome, and it was really great to meet up with her because, and not just in Pakistan, obviously, like everywhere, like there are like a lot of people in the travel scene that are completely fake and fraudulent. Like they'll claim they're backpacking when they're literally on a paid and sponsored tour. Right. You know, like those types of scenes.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to meet her because she's a really hardcore, like completely like, you know,
boots on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground type traveler. Okay. So that was really awesome and inspiring to meet her. Okay. But other than that, I don't think I've met anyone that's particularly famous in Pakistan.
Okay.
I think, like I said, I was in GB for like a while, so we were a bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So the mode of sustenance is that you're paid to be a writer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How much longer are you expecting this trip to last, or are you just going by feel?
So honestly, I do want to settle in Pakistan.
Inshallah.
I'm not inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah.
I'm very serious.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm very serious though. Like I'm not just saying this for the podcast or anything. Like to me, this isn't really like a trip anymore. It's kind of like,
oh, dude, that's
I
beautiful.
Want to, like,
that's so cool. Inshallah. I hope it happens without any incident or any problems.
Yeah,
inshallah. Yeah. Are you in talks with people though?
Yeah, I
make
do.
that happen?
Yeah, I do have lots of like, local friends, local connections
Yeah.
and different scenes. So I wouldn't be like, on my own trying to make that happen.
Yeah, I was
So,
gonna say, that's probably not the best idea.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like that would be very difficult. Like, but no, I've been very, very blessed to like meet some like absolutely like honestly, I've like with the exception of my first month here, where I did meet some more foreigners. I was staying at a hostel, hanging out with some foreigners. Like after that 1 month, pretty much all of my time has been spent with Pakistanis, like people from Pakistan. So,
Okay, people from Pakistan, but people like me who were educated A-level schools and then went abroad, or like
actually, people from Hunza, like born and raised there, who have not ever been abroad or been educated outside of Pakistan.
Okay.
So that kind of just happened because I went to Hunza, I
Sure,
spent some
of
time
course,
there,
yeah.
and then just met like some really awesome, very like-minded people.
Alhamdulillah. And so are you then also planning on going further inwards to Sindh?
Oh yes, absolutely,
Yeah?
absolutely. I'm really planning the first official stop after it will be Hyderabad, inshallah.
So I was born in Hyderabad.
Really? Oh wow! So you can hopefully give me some. Give
we'll
me some
sort you out,
tips.
inshallah, no problems.
Oh,
And then also, so you've been to Ghazi Baba. Have you heard of Lal Sai? Shahbaz Kalandar? Samer?
Oh, that is when I tell you that is like my number one spot in Sindh, because I actually absolutely love visiting these types of shrines in Pakistan. I find them very interesting. I took a class on Sufism in high school,
Okay.
which I guess in Pakistan is college. So
Sure, yeah,
college.
Yeah.
So I've always been quite interested in it. When I was in Lahore, I visited a shrine there. For some Damal scenes that were going on.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. Like I found it very interesting. Like just one of the, like just absolutely loved it. I wasn't even expecting like.
Are you a spiritual person?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that. So I was born and raised Catholic. I wouldn't say that I'm like very into the religion, but I'm definitely spiritual for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So
For sure.
Yeah. So one of the salient features of Ghazi Baba, or if you go to Lal Sai or any of the other Sufi, do I want to call them saints? But Sufi personalities is
Definitely.
What's the word? No, the word escapes me. Philanthropy, right? You go there again. There's nobody there that's hungry.
Yes.
That's just not a concept
right.
there, and these people, and then there's obviously old guard, staunch Wahhabi Islam and all those things, right? And we could get into trouble talking about that stuff. We're not talking about that stuff. But if you go there, just nobody's hungry ever.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing.
It really is, yeah. And I definitely felt, I also was lucky to be able to attend 2 different Urs.
Okay.
One was in Lahore and the other was outside of Lahore. And people, like, once again, like at those specific events, like, wow, like the welcoming vibes were absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And specifically at one event that I will, this happened over 2 years ago and I still remember it, is particularly at I wanted to be in like a different, I'd gone with some local friends, but I really wanted to go into this like other area of this Damal in Lahore.
Yeah, okay.
And I was a bit worried because, I was honestly the only woman in the entire place.
Oh, wow.
But I really wanted to go and like, see the action because it was happening on the other side. And, not only did no one bother me whatsoever, but these people literally like made a seat for me in the front. Were like,
Well,
like.
here's the thing. Here's the thing about Damal, right? If it's being done properly, they had no idea you were there.
Yeah.
They don't feel anything then, right? And that's just how I understand it. It's a transcendental experience where they're not there.
Yeah, definitely. They're in a
not there.
whole nother plane.
Yes.
And it's amazing to see with the music as well.
Yeah.
And in fact, also I was able to visit one of these locations that was in Chaparsan, called the Baba Gandhi Shrine.
The Baba Gandhi. Okay, yes.
This place in particular was wow,
Zabardast.
Zabardast.
Yeah,
like, just,
Zabardast.
wow,
Yes.
like it was like I feel like the spiritual vibes just surrounding the place were just very interesting. It was very, yeah, like it was, and then of course it's like in a completely remote, like on like right near the border with the Wakan.
Yes.
So it was an awesome place. Like I would say that was one of it was just a super cool, you know, completely something that I would never ever ever find in America. Like just amazing.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah, it's a bit sad.
And I think I was having a conversation with someone a couple of days ago. So I'm Sindhi. Right?
Okay.
So I'm my heritage is from Samer, right?
Oh, okay.
So we were talking about, you know, Sufi saints and you know about mysticism and Sufism and all those things. But even as Pakistanis, we take a lot of this stuff for granted as well. Sufism or spirituality generally is just a thing. It's not scorned. It's not frowned upon. It's just, yeah, you're spiritual. That's fine. I think with the push towards postmodern liberalism in America, it's almost not cool to be spiritual.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you're just like, so you believe in, are you superstitious? Yeah, I mean, it's fine to be superstitious. Like, what's the problem there?
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Like there's definitely like, you know, right now in America, like that it's not really cool, I guess, you know, in a way. So I agree with you on that.
I mean, we do take some of this stuff for granted. Okay, so you do want to settle down here, which is awesome, inshallah. And you have, would you say you've built a community for yourself?
I honestly do feel like I have. I do feel though that I'm still building a community with like female friends, like girl friends.
Right.
Where one thing that I will say is as a female in Pakistan, even as a guy in Pakistan, you're definitely going to meet a lot of guys more like as friends, anything. It's just
the social space is inhabited by men more than women, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that is exciting is like when I do meet like girls, especially ones that I have, you know, things in common with and whatnot. Like last night with this girl that I told you about, and the traveler. So I do feel like I've been meeting like more, and especially in Karachi, I've met a lot of girls, and that's been very exciting and very cool.
That's awesome.
So and I definitely have. But in terms of like a general community, I definitely do have.
So your basic needs are covered, right? And you never have to stop growing your community. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's just not a thing, inshallah. So okay, but that is a problem then, yes, because the social sphere generally is just inhabited by men, and it's not to say that they're bad.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just I think it'd be awesome if you had just as if you were just as likely to meet a woman.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. I like, and I especially like to, I really like, for example, like I actually just wrote about this experience recently. Like one of my like most memorable travel experiences since coming in April was with some girls in Haramosh Valley, which is a very remote, quite conservative region in like the Skardu/Gilgit area.
Okay.
And there was just these two girls. They were very young, like maybe like 14 and 18. And I was doing this trek. It was 18 kilometers. I wasn't even alone. I was with a friend. We were both doing it. And we meet these girls that are traveling with literal like food stuff and other products from the last motorable village to like the meadow where like the whole community lived in. And so during this trek, I ended up getting like, so first we ended up joining them, and then we're all walking together. I was actually able to communicate with them enough, which was very amazing because that was not something I was able to do in 2019, like where I knew 3 words of Urdu.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful,
So
yes.
that was great. But then like the most distinct thing about this situation was, first of all, these girls had literally done this same 18-kilometer trek the night before.
Oh, super casual.
Yeah, just super casual.
Yeah.
Secondly, they're wearing chapels.
Absolutely. I mean, they have to be comfortable. Come on now, Samantha. They have to be comfortable.
Mind you, this includes crossing like a little glacier.
Please.
Right.
Come on now.
So the most just such a notable thing about these girls and this particular region, it was very rural, very remote, like very much like a place where people might never leave the area. Like people might not even have gone to Gilgit, even though it's only 3 hours from Gilgit.
Sure.
Like it's, you know, that type of location. And it was just so unbelievable to me when I actually ended up getting some heat stroke symptoms. It was extremely, extremely hot.
Oh, no.
Like I was really not feeling well. I didn't think I was going to make it at all.
What the hell?
Yeah, and keep in mind, I was with a friend. Like I was not alone. Like a trustable friend. Like that I knew I wasn't going to die. Like these girls, absolutely, like they didn't know me. Like anything. They insisted for the next 4 hours that it took me to slowly move along, stayed with us. They carried my bag. They gave me all of the snacks they had, the drinks they had.
Wow,
it was just unbelievable. Like literally just what, like they didn't need to. Like I wasn't alone. Like I really wasn't. And that fact, the fact that I was not alone is just, it shows just look at these types of people.
Yeah.
Like they were getting nothing. Like why would they want to spend longer when they could quickly do this route in such a short time? And that people like this is like, I think knowing that the people like this are existing like in your country is like definitely something that I think you as a Pakistani should be proud of, because this is not existing everywhere in the world.
No, it's not.
Unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah.
And one of the things that when I was writing about this, and there are parts of the world where if you're on a hike in a remote area and you're the only foreigner there, like literally the only foreigner with, you know, a pretty nice camera, other equipment.
You're in danger.
Right. You are in danger. You can be robbed. Like you could be stabbed. This happens to people. You hear about it.
Yeah.
But the complete opposite happened. Like these girls literally spent their entire day with me going, you know, 1/100th of the speed
that they would want to go
when,
to. Yeah.
When they could have easily just reached their village and joined their family quickly. And it was just like,
they just aren't brought up like that. I think that's beautiful. And the kindness of strangers, man. What are you going to say, right?
And honestly, like for me, like especially like I told you, like with this recent like whole Trump era in America, like I've been very jaded about people in general, like just seeing like the types of behavior in my country. So I think another thing is whenever I like experience these like wonderful acts of kindness in Pakistan, it really makes me remember that like there are still genuinely good people left in this world.
Oh, yeah.
And that's always just like such a humbling and wonderful reminder, because it's like people are genuinely good. Strangers are genuinely good. And it's like, this is so much needed these days.
Yes, it is. That's beautiful. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So building a better community, all that's good. Your forays into interior Sindh, more for writing?
So not necessarily. Like the writing is just something that will happen because I'm going. I'm going because I'm genuinely interested. Like I really want to see these historical sites. In fact, I really want to see some offbeat ones as well that are in Mirpurkhas.
Yes.
Which it does kind of seem like I don't even know if there would be somewhere that like there's issues with like foreigners and hotels and whatnot in certain.
Like I said, after the podcast, don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
But for example, like like I have a whole like on Google Maps like lots of green dots of different historical places I want to go.
Okay, so writing and then photography. Have you ever considered expanding your social media portfolio to include video?
So it's funny that you say that, because like quite literally, I do have 2 videos that I am going to put on YouTube literally any day now.
Inshallah.
So, inshallah.
Do you have? So I don't follow you on YouTube. Is this?
Oh,
bad?
this isn't even released yet.
Okay.
It's like we're still in post-processing mode, but it's like we're almost there, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And I actually shot like a ton of footage over various trips and whatnot, but didn't really get around to it. But now I'm ready.
Because there is that model for you to follow as well in terms of financial viability. Is you could sort that out, right?
Because for sure.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Eva Zubek.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of her.
She'd made it quite well.
Oh yeah, I've watched her videos. She is definitely like, in terms of travel content creation.
She's really
goals,
good. Yeah.
Hashtag goals.
Sure. Yeah. She's really, really good, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And she, I think when she came to Pakistan, she had around 10,000 followers. By the time she was ready to leave, she had around 400,000.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
You're sorted at that point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You're comfortable.
For sure. And another reason why I do really want to make videos particularly is I mean, obviously, this isn't the only reason, but particularly with Pakistan, Ava, like she lived here for over a year, so I'm not referring to her, but particularly more recently, you know, you do see people, the YouTubers, foreign YouTubers come to Pakistan for 1 to 3 weeks, you know, do a kind of sponsored, completely
Get the
like,
quick
you
hit.
know, quick hits, like no real experiences, no backpacking scenes, like no like real like interactions. And then they'll go online and they'll act like, you know, it's their second home,
Like
or
they're
like,
the authority,
right?
yeah.
And that like they love the country, or there are even people that will lead tours in Pakistan. And you know, one thing that let me finish that point first.
Sure.
But so yeah, I do want to make it very clear that like I do very genuinely love Pakistan, and like I
Absolutely,
wanted to
yes.
come here for many years. Like I making the content and whatnot kind of came like secondary, but it was never at all like the motivation. And in fact, if all of these platforms shut down, like I would still be happily like going.
You'd still want to be here.
Oh yeah, of
Oh, dude,
course,
that's
for
crazy.
sure. Like
Mashallah.
like. But there's something about Pakistan that also is very inspiring to me. Like I love that I can go outside with my camera and I know for a fact there's going to be something just maybe to like the average person they might not consider it interesting, but to me, like to see someone on a bike like carrying a chair or a table or some other type of jugad, it's just like, oh wow, this is so fun to see. Like every day is like there's some sort of excitement.
Sure.
And I was not like, there's that to me, I was not finding that at home, even when I was traveling in Europe, like, you know.
Sure, okay.
And so yeah, I think what I love about Pakistan overall, one besides the people that we discussed, is just that personally I could always find something extraordinary in the general mundane. Like
I think that has a lot to do with you as a person too, though.
yeah,
I'm just gonna put that out there.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like maybe my dad wouldn't agree.
I mean, listen, but I think also give yourself some credit. But you were making another point, and I do want to speak on that as well. Yes, those people. And again, there's avenues for them, so I don't hold it against them. But you're a purist in that sense, where if you're not doing the thing, you don't want to be caught documenting it or anything of that sort.
Wait.
The videos and stuff, right? So you want to actually be about it.
Yeah. Like I at least want to convey to people that like I'm living in Pakistan, essentially like making videos. Like I'm not like just here for a week or two and leaving on to my next country. I'm not country counting.
No.
I have been to 15 countries, which obviously is a big privilege. You know, like many people only go to one. So but of course there are other travelers, a lot of other people coming to Pakistan that have been to like 80, 90, 100. That doesn't interest me. Like there are other countries I'm interested in traveling to, namely Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. One day I would love to see Afghanistan.
Sure, inshallah.
So,
You and me both.
Iran, like these places, like I'm interested, but like I'm not pressed. Like honestly, there's so much left to see in Pakistan. Like specifically related to seasons. Like for example, I wanted to be in Sindh now, very particularly. And then it's like now is not like you can't really trek unless you want to do like ultimate snow trekking, which is not my scene.
Oh no. So from what you've told me, I think you're not even 10% done.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
You're
Like
good.
there is and another thing is I really do enjoy revisiting places as well. Like for example, I've been to this Mubarak beach twice. The first time I went, like I knew I liked it, like it was awesome, but it was very gray. It was very like really bad weather, you know.
Okay.
And the vibe was just like cloudy. And then I went again and it was like one of the best weather days here, like, and I was swimming for hours. Like it was just like a brand new place.
Yes.
So I love the fact that when you revisit a place, it can almost feel like a brand new place depending upon the circumstances of that day. So I'm very into like slow travel, really making sure I like see everything in a place.
Just take a minute, you know?
Yeah,
take a minute,
exactly.
Smell the roses, that sort of thing. What do you say to all the local women who would want to do similar things, but maybe, you know, for familial pressures or what have you, whatever other, you know, concerns that bob them down? What would you say to them? Because they would look at you and be like, yeah, that's awesome. We'd want to experience Pakistan like that as well.
Well, first of all, I definitely want to, first of all, recognize that I understand that what I'm doing is really an immense privilege.
You said that already.
Oh,
It's
okay.
fine. It's fine.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay.
You're good. Yeah. But
So I would say that if someone, first of all, I would like to say that travel does not have to be luxurious. And I understand
go.
that some people, there's no option for them.
yeah.
But however, for other people, travel does not have to be luxurious, and oftentimes planning things on your own is going to be cheaper than going with a tour company.
Okay.
For example, like I am not involved with like tours, like I've planned and researched like everything that I've done. So, and I specifically believe that that does save money.
Okay.
And there are so many free resources online that these days that are super useful and whatnot.
Okay.
I also do believe that, okay, so I just said that it doesn't need to be expensive because a lot of times people associate with travel as kind of like a vacation, a getaway. But the thing is that it doesn't have to be like that. Like traveling rough is oftentimes like going to give you the most coolest experiences. And it's also going to be quite affordable as well.
Yes, but okay. But as a woman,
Oh, right.
right? As a woman traveling alone, now do you have any particular advice on other than the normal stuff? You're in
So,
Pakistan, take care of yourself. stuff like this.
Personally, if there was a Pakistani girl or woman who would like to travel and they're not sure, like how to navigate this with familial scenes, and they want to go alone. So first of all, I would recommend that they join a particularly amazing Facebook group that connects locals, Pakistan. It's a woman-only group.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
and it's run by another really awesome blogger named Alex. She is been to Pakistan numerous times.
Alex, beyond
Lost with Purpose.
Lost with Purpose. Alex.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've met her. She's very awesome, very legit.
Is she here now?
She's not here now. I think she will be coming in a few months again.
Alex,
but-
we're waiting for you.
yeah. So she started a really awesome Facebook group called Female Pakistan Travelers, and it's women only. Men cannot join at all. And in fact, I even met up with a Pakistani girl, and we went out and spent a day together just from this group.
Wonderful.
And
Beautiful. Yes.
that was awesome. And this girl actually, she was really into traveling as well. She was also looking to do more traveling and whatnot. So this group is fantastic because it allows local girls to connect with each other. There's different scenes where they post about like bigger groups that might be going. So I would say first step, join this group.
Yes. What's it called?
Female Pakistan Travelers, and it's on Facebook.
Female Pakistan Travelers.
Yeah, so
No men.
no men. So, and it's a very safe space. Like all topics are like, men free.
Yeah, you need to be. Come on, need to be. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So aside from that group, and if you cannot find a female travel buddy that can go with you, my number one recommendation for if you want to go for the first time, you've never traveled in Pakistan alone or maybe even anywhere alone, is to go to Hansa.
Go to
And
Hansa first?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this is because this is honestly what I did, because honestly, it was a bit daunting to me, like coming alone on this, when I came in April of 2021. And this is what I did. I arrived into Islamabad. I actually spent a few days going to Rawalpindi, Peshawar, alone with some Pakistanis I met. So I didn't just stay at Islamabad. But anyways, so then I went on a bus and I went to Hansa. And the reason why I think that's such a great idea for women is because Hansa is extremely, extremely safe. As a woman, you could literally be walking alone there, honestly, at any time, and it's totally chill. There's basically no crime that goes on there.
Sure. Yeah. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
While no place is perfect, I do think that Hansa is a truly like idyllic region.
Kind of utopic. Yeah.
Yes, and not just in Pakistan, like literally globally.
Yeah.
And personally, like I'm not someone that tends to like, really hyped up, really touristed areas. But what I found there was like, oh wow, like yes, there's a few like super famous sites. There's the Aurabad Lake, the fort, the cones. But if you get off that, you don't need to be on like a tourist trail. Like there is so much there. And
I feel like I need to go.
oh yeah, and the thing is, the people there, which I told you, I'd really become very close with some people like born and raised there. People there are just very, very tolerant, very, very welcoming. And of course, everyone is welcoming in Pakistan, I've found. But specifically for solo women, for anyone, like even babies, like it's a place that anyone could go and not feel too stressed out, not have to deal with any catcalling or like staring or any types of issues.
That's big, dude.
And yeah, overall, like it's very chilled as well in terms of like judgment. Like there's no judgment. No one is caring what people are wearing. No one is caring what people are doing. There's not any like rules regarding like hotel stays or things like that. There are certain places where solo women might find a hard time to find a hotel in the country.
So, there you go. Yeah.
Whereas in Hunza, that will absolutely not happen. Like you could stay anywhere. It's totally chilled. Even unmarried couples could stay. Like it's very open society.
Yeah.
So, I really think anywhere in Hunza is a really safe bet for any first-time Pakistani female traveler or even any female traveler in general as well. And I do think that particularly related to the familial issues, I think that Pakistani women can really explain to their families about Hunza, about the culture, about the society, about some of the accolades there. Like, for example, it's the most literate place in the entire
I think
country.
100%.
Yeah.
100% literacy, yeah.
I think that families would be of course, like, I can't say for sure, but I feel like families would be a bit more open after like hearing these things, understanding these things, watching perhaps videos from other Pakistani travelers. Because, for example, like there's Maria, there's a few other girls that are Pakistani as well who have made. Oh, going into that fact, like yes, of course, I also specifically for Pakistani girls, I highly, highly recommend that they would show their family members YouTube videos, and not just like the famous like Ava and whatnot, which those are good to show because it of course shows like, foreigners are also traveling here, but specifically the Pakistani girls that are doing it, like show your family those girls because.
So which ones in Maria Sumro you said?
Yeah, so particularly the two that I know of is Maria Sumro, who is on YouTube, and then there's another girl that we haven't met yet, but I know she's on YouTube as well. Her name is Amber, I believe.
I don't know.
MBZ travel.
Okay.
I'm
Amber?
sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. We haven't officially met yet, but I've spoken to her online. Hold on. Do you mind if I just get her?
Please.
I don't want to, in case if she sees this, I do want to shout her out.
So Maria Sumro for sure.
Yeah, for sure. She is. Okay, so I'm sorry. So the other girl is the Travel Luster.
The Travel Luster.
Yes, and they're both Pakistanis. I believe they're both from Karachi, and they're girls making YouTube videos and traveling around Pakistan. So
I should probably have them on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should be, yeah.
So specifically, like to more answer the question, like yes, like those two accounts would be really good to start off with. And also two other regions that I particularly feel like are the safest and easiest places to travel for women or anyone in Pakistan are Funder Valley, which is also in Gilgit-Baltistan, and it's just
beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Like if you think the Aurabad Lake is blue, like you should see the lakes and the rivers here. It's just. And it's just super welcoming, super nice people. It's very chilled, very like not even that many people are there really. Like it's quite.
That's important, right?
Yeah, very just peaceful. And other than that, in another location where I simply just had, I personally love this location so much, and it's so underrated, is Upper Chitral.
Upper Chitral.
Upper Chitral is super safe for women, super safe for solo travelers. People are absolutely fantastic. It's the same tolerant, welcoming, open-minded, very chill. Food, I think that you coming from Karachi would probably find it a bit boring or like, because there's no spices really.
Okay. I mean, I'll see if I ever get there. Well, we'll see.
But yeah, so Upper Chitral, Funder Valley, and Hunza Valley are like really great places to start there.
That's fantastic. Samantha, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, dude, absolutely my pleasure. And I hope that you are granted success with whatever you want, and I hope that you will come back. Inshallah.
Bahut shukriya.
Oh, dude,
inshallah.
of course. What do I say to bahut shukriya? What?
It's a good question. I've thought of that as well.
I don't know. Koi baat nahi.
ठीक
Yeah, koi baat
Koi
nahi
baat
just
nahi.
means, don't worry about it, I guess. But what do you say to shukriya? Wow.
I'd like to know as well.
Like we're both trying to figure that out. But anyways, no, it was absolutely my pleasure. You come back whenever you feel like it. Intentional detours.
Yes.
Oh, dude, YouTube, Instagram, shout all that out.
Yeah. And I also have my website where I have like, some guides and,
So I'll link all of it.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
no problem.
Sounds good.
So intentionaldetours.com, right?
Yep.
And then intentional detours on Instagram, and then also on YouTube.
Yes, but you'll tell me when, what we're going to be live, but it's supposed to be up very soon.
Very soon,
We're talking
right?
like a day or two. So,
Yeah. No. This is gonna take some time.
Okay,
This is
okay.
gonna take some time.
Perfect.
Yeah. So by the time this comes out,
It will be there, yes.
it will be there. So
Yeah.
intentional detours on YouTube, intentional detours on Instagram, intentionaldetours.com. And then look up all the other wonderful ladies that we've also spoken about. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure chatting.
Dude, it was wonderful.
Yes.
Samantha, Kazi Akbar. Assalamu alaikum.